Easter Games. One Sunday morning, the engines were gathered at Titmuss Station, very excited. It was Easter, and they were looking forward to it. Just then, Sir Topham Hatt arrived. "Today at Wellsworth Station," he announced, "there are to be the Vicar's Easter Games start. One of you will collect passengers or all refreshments and deliveries there, just in case the winner gets there soon enough." Then he had a special assignment for Thomas. "You will collect the Easter Games from the docks." "Yes, sir," whistled Thomas. With that, Sir Topham Hatt drove away in his car, and Thomas puffed away, feeling very excited. Then all the other engines were excited about the Easter Games as Thomas was. But they all had to do what Sir Topham Hatt always said. They collected their deliveries, parcels, and also the passengers at the same time. They were all excited, and couldn't wait for Thomas much longer. But they had to go on, until at last all the engines had finally finished their work. "We'd better hope Sir Topham Hatt comes here before the Vicar's Easter Games start," chimed Boko. "Maybe he succeeds before the game starts," put in Neville. "Or maybe he will succeed when he takes all of the special deliveries here," said Henry hopefully. "Especially he proves himself to be useful." "He has proved himself, you know," puffed Gordon. "He has also done very well at shunting." "Yeah," said Percy cheekily. "That's what we tank engines do, as well as the big engines sometimes." "Oh, be quiet, Percy," snapped James. "You're just a little green engine who does shunting just like Thomas," Gordon huffed pompously. "Shunting is undignified for tender engines to do like the little tank engines." Percy subsided. At that made Edward very cross. "All right, you two. Enough's enough. It doesn't matter that we tenders can do shunting, or not at all," he said sternly. "So perhaps Sir Topham Hatt will congratulate Thomas for his hard work." That made Percy feel better. He was glad that Edward defended him from James and Gordon with their negative attitudes. The other engines were very excited about Thomas's events, and were also very excited about the events of the Easter Games. Meanwhile, Thomas was making up for lost time. He had picked all the deliveries from the docks that were loaded in all the boxcars. Thomas began to enjoy himself. "I must make it for the Vicar's Easter Games at Wellsworth Station," he panted. "Maybe we'll make it in time," said his driver. "But don't worry. They'll start when we get there." But Thomas was worried. As he was puffing through the orchard, he was thinking that he could make it to the station for Easter Games. However, he thought too soon. His whistle burst, and Thomas stopped. "Oh dear," he groaned. "We'll never get to the Easter Games in time." "Are you all right?" said the voice. Thomas blinked. Standing beside him was the green traction engine who had seen everything. "Trevor, thank goodness!" Thomas exclaimed happily. He told Trevor what happened to his whistle. "It might be too dangerous if I could get to Wellsworth for today's Easter Games without my whistle," worried Thomas. "What am I going to do?" "Don't worry, Thomas," soothed Trevor. "We can help." He asked his driver, Jim Cole, to telephone Sir Topham Hatt for help. "Right away," he said. and he ran into the halt. But Thomas was still worried. It wasn't too long until Thomas heard an engine's whistle. Backing up towards him was Edward. Thomas was glad to see Edward coming to help. "Sir Topham had sent me to take you to my station," he said to Thomas. "Are you all right there?" "Yes, I'm fine," sighed Thomas. "I was trying to make up for lost time, but it seems that I didn't make it on time anymore." "Don't worry," said Edward kindly. "It's all your whistle that happens to burst out sometimes. So come on, Thomas. We don't want to be late for the Easter games." The two engines soon set off for Wellsworth station. Thomas somehow was worried that the Easter games may start without him, but Edward assured him that he wouldn't have to worry about it when they arrived. "Hello, Thomas," tooted Boko. "We're so glad you're here."
"Yeah, we were worried that you wouldn't make it in time," puffed Lady. "But you've carried on."
"I know," said Thomas happily, "and I couldn't have done it without our friend Edward." "It was nothing," smiled Edward. "And indeed you couldn't, Thomas," boomed Sir Topham Hatt proudly. "Now let the Easter games begin." A few moments after the Easter games were over, Sir Topham Hatt came to congratulate Thomas. "I'm very proud of you, Thomas," he said. "Jim Cole told me on the telephone that you burst your whistle. But let's not worry about it. Miles will take you to the steamworks tomorrow. Then you will come back and service again after Albert will be working on your branch line."
"Thank you, sir," said Thomas.
"But that's not all. You are the winner of the Easter games. 3 cheers for Thomas the Tank Engine." All the engines tooted and cheered. Even everyone did the most cheer of all.
"Well done, Thomas," cheered Edward. "You did very well to win the game."
"Thank you, Edward," smiled Thomas. "I couldn't have done it without you. But I'm happy to know my dedication around here on this island again."